Stephen, you're clearly very passionate about your job. You have a long-term plan in place, as you've outlined there. But just the short-term pain must still hurt you. The results that have gone past you.
Yeah, absolutely. We're hurt that we didn't. As a manager, you're trying to get a substitute on for 4 minutes in the 88th minute to break up the rhythm of the game and just to get fresh legs on, and you can't get them on, and then they score, and that comes back to haunt you in relation to that. The fourth official just completely planks the situation. You're trying to get substitutes on, and that's a regret, of course, that you can't do that. The other night that we didn't take the chances that we did, and we've looked at them all again, and that we, to not beat Azerbaijan with such dominance in the game, we're disappointed with. But listen, I can't fault the players. They're trying. They played some terrific stuff, and they deserve to win the game at the weekend.
Gavin Kearney, please.
Thank you, Stephen. I think a lot of people would agree with you when you talk about the progress the squad is making and the performances in Portugal and Serbia in particular. But do you need a win at some point to validate it, to highlight it, and then point to the FAI when it comes to making a decision on the future to say, look, this is what we've achieved so far?
The answer to that is I don't know, but we'll endeavour to try and win every game. We'll approach the Serbian game to win it. That's the objective. We want to win against Serbia. We know they're an exceptional team. They've got a formidable squad. They seem to have continuity in their team. And we're going to have to be. It's a real physical test for us again to go 3-6, and we've got to do that. And we want to win the game, and that's what we want to do. It's our determination to try and do that.
And just lastly for me, Stephen, I know there's stories in the paper, a couple of the papers today, that your job is under threat if you don't beat Serbia. Has anything like that been communicated to you at all?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. That has not been communicated to me. I've only people behind the scenes have been very supportive, and that's. I doubt that is very much the case, to be honest.
And do you still feel you have the full backing of everyone behind the scenes? Because I know last year around the video stuff there was a reference to the people behind the scenes not exactly being helpful, if I can couch on those.
No, listen, we're just focused on the game really against Serbia, and I think we're very united here. I think, and we want to go, and we've put in some strong performances. We've not got what we deserved, but we've seen the emergence of a lot of really good stuff, and a lot of players really emerging and formulating a team that's going to be very strong. That's the way I'd feel. It's going to be very strong over the next couple of years for sure.
Neil O'Riordan, please.
And don't forget we've had to make changes in this camp, even with Darrell O'Shea dropping out, Nathan Collins, who would have possibly come in for him, and now Seamus Coleman in that position as well. So there has been challenges, and obviously there isn't the COVID players with COVID, but so there has been challenges, and but the players have responded well. The attitude has been brilliant.
Neil O'Riordan.
Hi, Stephen.
Hi.
You mentioned there about building a team for Germany 2024. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm not sure that was publicly articulated before. Just asking, was that something that was discussed with the FAI when he took over? And secondly, has it proven more difficult to do that whilst getting results than you envisaged?
No, I think the FAI knew that they had a lot of, when I was appointed, knew that they had good players coming through the system, and knew that would have been realistic, and knew that they hadn't qualified for the World Cup in over 20 years, and that with the difficulty qualifying now with just one group winner qualifying, they knew that it would be difficult. But I don't think it's. We've discussed it I've discussed it, but I'm not really going to go into internal discussions between myself and everyone within the FAI.
But just on the second point, you obviously felt you could be more competitive results-wise in this group than you have been.
Yeah. No, we would have expected to beat Luxembourg and Azerbaijan. You know, we would have expected to beat them. You know, that's, you know, we would have, yeah. At home, yeah.
John Fallon, please.
Yeah, thanks. Now, Neil asked sort of the main question I was going to ask. Just one on the squad, Stephen. Robbie Brady at all an option for you?
I wouldn't mind having him as an option. He is training here, and he is an option. Just he's not really played any matches for a while or had sustained levels of training for a while. So he probably isn't, John, to be honest, at the moment. But I do see him. I think there's some clubs. You know, if he gets signed, and hopefully for the October camp, we can have Robbie as an option. Thanks.
Ed Leahy, please.
Hi, Stephen. I suppose just looking to the game tomorrow, we know what Serbia have, and we know that they will come and try and play and try and win by scoring more goals essentially than they concede. I suppose in a sense it will, even though it's a home game, it will give the team a really good platform to produce good counter-attacking football in that sense. And we've seen the defence appears to be quite solid in the last few games. So would that give you confidence going into this game that you can get a result out of it?
Yeah, it is a fascinating game tactically. I think because there will be periods that where Serbia will have possession, and it is they play 3-4-2-1, and obviously Tadic and Milinkovic-Savic are the main two behind Mitrovic, and but we don't know that. They could make changes with the other forwards that they have. So there's nothing set in stone. So yeah, it's a tactical challenge for us, and we have to rise to that, and we have to have a good our possession plan for sure, and we have to, in possession, we've got to be comfortable and try and gain some control as well, and see if we can do that. And we showed over in Serbia an attacking threat. He scored 2 good goals, and we have to show a level of creativity to make sure that we create chances against a good team.
Stephen, can I just ask you a separate note, and just on, I suppose, your media duties as a manager, in terms of your persona today and your ability upon reflection on the game, everything is, you can really communicate your beliefs and your theories and very clearly, but straight after a game, it doesn't always come across to that. So
is that right?
Is there some aspect where it would be beneficial for everyone, where we could have a more in-depth press conference or analysis maybe a day after the game? Would that suit you better, or is that just something that?
Yeah, well, maybe I have to look at myself in that regard. You probably are. When you get bad results after a game, you're deflating down, and that's, maybe that's something I need to be better at. And just probably the Zoom as well, I find more difficult than the probably the real life conference. Probably you don't project as well in Zoom than in a normal conference. But yeah, it's something that maybe I have to get better at for sure.
Paul Lennon, please.
Stephen, how you doing? As you outlined there, some very good performance, good spells, and other games are very good. But the stats are 1 win in 15, a friendly win against one of the weakest teams in Europe, no competitive wins. At this level and at the top level in any league, League of Ireland, Premier League, Scottish League, that's not a particularly good record. Do you think it's good enough, Stephen?
Well, you're saying no competitive wins, but in terms of the, we just had 4 games in the group. So, no, I think we would have wanted the results to be better for sure. We would have wanted results to be better for sure. So, does that mean that if we'd have won 2-1 the other night and we got that late, or 1-0, that that everything was great or everything was okay after Portugal and we won? But because we didn't, it's a catastrophe. It's just a volatility between how people felt after Portugal and seeing the the level of performance, which Irish teams haven't played with that level of confidence in terms of Portugal or Serbia in many years, like away from home like that. But what we've got to do is just be better than them home games against, obviously we've got to be much more, we've got to score goals against teams at home, like we haven't against Azerbaijan, for example. The other day we just got to 1. So I think there is a lot of progress being made. I know you can point to statistics, and that's fair enough. But that's not the way. I've already said how I feel about it, and that's the way I see it.
And we'll have Paul Rowan to end the press conference, please.
Just ask one more question. You explained to Darren Randolph there that he came back 2 weeks ago and said he is available to play. You went for James Talbot when you were selecting a new keeper last week. Did you not think about bringing Darren back and getting his experience?
No, I spoke to Darren. Yeah, I did speak to Darren, and I tried, about coming in before James came in, and but at that stage he was in the middle of it was transfer deadline day, and he'd spending 2 days. I know his move didn't materialise, but he was on the verge of moving on loan to 2 clubs. And it was transfer deadline day, so I fully respected that wishes in regard, because he wasn't going to play here. It was different if he was coming in to play at that stage, so I did respect that. So I would have we tried to bring Darren in fact,
And Paul Rowan to end the press conference, please.
What was Seamus Coleman's injury?
Well, just after we made the last substitution, just as we scored the goal, I don't know whether you realised in the match, Seamus tweaked his hamstring again. So for the last 5 minutes or 6 minutes of the match, that's why Daryl Horgan sort of ended up playing right back and Seamus played in the right wing nearly at the end. His hamstring. For the last, after we scored the goal, we'd only 10 men really, because we'd used all our subs, so we couldn't really go again. Seamus just stayed on, and out of goodness really, but he couldn't run really, and so he that was the sort of persistent hamstring issue that he's had.
And one other piece of housekeeping, the Azerbaijani manager said that for Ireland's goal that James McLean's touch put the ball out of play.
Yeah, no.
Look back at that. What's your view?
Well, Ger Dunn, my senior analyst here, has looked at that at length and said that certainly wasn't out, and he has video evidence to confirm that it wasn't out. That's why he informs me.